A dinner party becomes entangled in a web of blackmail, secrets, and murder even before dessert is served. Wadsworth arrives at Hill House and checks on the maid, Yvette, and the cook, Mrs. Ho. The bell announces Colonel Mustard's arrival. Wadsworth greets him and reminds him to use his assigned alias for tonight. With that, he escorts the man to the library. Soon, Wadsworth welcomes Mrs. White and guides her to the library, though when she spots Yvette, the two exchange hostile looks. Meanwhile, Miss Scarlet's car breaks down on the road. Fortunately, Professor Plum drives by and offers her a ride, surprising that they have the same destination. At the house, Wadsworth welcomes Mrs. Peacock and Mr. Green. Plum and Scarlet soon arrive together, surprising Wadsworth. With the guests complete, Ho announces dinner, so they head to the dining room and take their assigned seats. As their soup is served, Mustard wanders about the head of the table, so Wadsworth explains that the seat is for the seventh guest, Mr. Body. Everyone thought Mr. Body was their host, so they now wonder who their host really is. Wadsworth evades the question with a smile. Peacock plays host, since she's used to it due to her husband's work. When White asks what her husband does, Peacock almost answers, but remembers they're not supposed to be too forthcoming. Still, Green figures out that Peacock's husband works in Washington since he works there too. To divert everyone's attention, Peacock asks about White's husband. White answers cryptically that her husband just lies on his back all day. Peacock exclaims that the main course is one of her favorites, and Plum remarks on her chatty behavior. White asks if he's a doctor, so he clarifies that he doesn't practice medicine, but works for the World Health Organization. Plum then asks Mustard if he's really a colonel, which he confirms. Scarlet then reveals they both live in Washington, slyly adding that she's seen him before, though he likely hasn't seen her. This makes everyone wonder if they all live in Washington. Plum reveals that he doesn't, but Green points out that he still works for the government, which seems to be their commonality. Suspicious, Mustard demands an explanation from Wadsworth, but the doorbell rings, so he goes to answer it. Wadsworth soon introduces Mr. Body. Peacock, now frustrated, demands to know why they have been summoned. The butler reveals that he received a letter implying that tonight's attendance will allow him to end a long-standing and confidential financial liability. Everyone received a similar letter except for Body, who doesn't share what he received. He also reveals that he knows Yvette already. Brushing this off, Wadsworth offers dessert, but the group has lost their appetite. With that, he invites them to the study, where their unknown host will reveal his plans. They enter the room, and Wadsworth retrieves an envelope with instructions to open it after dinner. The butler then reveals that he's been instructed to disclose the guest's commonality, but he offers Body to do it instead. Body is baffled by the offer and abruptly stands, suggesting everyone to leave because the dinner is a scam. He runs out, and Wadsworth and the guests pursue him. Wadsworth then declares that no one can leave because the doors are locked and the windows are barred. Still, Body continues to search for an exit and ends up in the conservatory. He prepares to break the glass, but an angry Doberman is on the other side, scaring him. With everyone back in the study, Wadsworth announces that what the guests have in common is that they're being blackmailed by someone they don't know. They've all paid this person to keep their secrets, though Peacock denies this. To prove this, Wadsworth starts revealing their secrets from the documents in the envelope. First, Plum's license was revoked for sleeping with his patients, and Peacock has accepted bribes, though she denies it. Scarlet proudly admits to being blackmailed for running a specialized entertainment company for gentlemen. Her earlier familiarity with Mustard causes Green to conclude that he's a client. Mustard refutes it, but Wadsworth has evidence. He also reveals that Mustard works for the Pentagon and drives an expensive car despite his supposed paycheck. On the other hand, White is being blackmailed for her husband's mysterious death. She claims she was at the movies when her deranged nuclear physicist husband was found decapitated at home. However, she defends that she's been paying the blackmailer to avoid controversies. Green chooses to out himself, admitting to working for the State Department and is unashamedly attracted to men. He's been keeping the secret as he might lose his job over it. Attention finally turns to Body, who Wadsworth casually mentions is the blackmailer. This revelation causes mayhem and a fight ensues. To regain control, Wadsworth shouts that the police are on their way and that reporting Body's schemes is enough for a conviction. If they remain silent, Wadsworth is prepared to present his evidence and the recordings of tonight's conversations, which Yvette is listening in on from the billiards room. To persuade them against this, Body gets his suitcase and distributes gifts to the guest. A candlestick for Scarlet, a noose for White, a lead pipe for Green, a wrench for Mustard, a revolver for Plum, and a dagger for Peacock. Body then presents two options: report him and have their secrets exposed, or kill Wadsworth and leave before the police arrive to keep their secrets hidden. He turns off the lights, signaling the guests to make their choice. A gunshot rings, followed by the sound of breaking glass. Peacock switches on the lights and drops her dagger upon seeing body on the floor. Plum declares him dead, and White accuses him of shooting him since he has a revolver. He defends that Body has no wound and someone tried to grab his gun earlier, hence it went off and broke the vase. Peacock grabs the closest drink to calm down, which happens to be Body's. Seeing this, Plum speculates that Body died from poison and Peacock erupts in hysteria. Then they hear Yvette scream and rush to her. In the other room, they find Yvette crying as she also drank the possibly poisoned liquor. They invite her to join them, and Mustard remarks that there's safety in numbers, so she agrees. Before leaving, Wadsworth takes the recording with him. They regroup in the study, where Wadsworth confesses to being their unnamed host. Body's blackmail caused his wife's death, and tonight was an attempt to gather the rest of the victims and end his schemes. Wadsworth states the killer must be found before the police arrive, otherwise they'll all be suspects. Wadsworth and Yvette remember the cook, so everyone dashes into the kitchen, but Ho isn't there. Suddenly, the freezer opens and her body falls into Green's arms with a dagger in her back. Mustard accuses Peacock of killing the cook, but she defends that she dropped her dagger earlier. Upon Wadsworth's suggestion, they carry Ho to the study but notice Body is gone. While the others are searching, Peacock excuses herself to the washroom. Scarlet peeks inside Wadsworth's envelope and sees pictures of Mustard. She offers them to Yvette, but she already knows what's in them. Mustard demands them back, but Scarlet points out that she also has a right to them. Down the hall, Peacock screams. They run out and witness Body attacking her. Upon pulling him off, Wadsworth notes Body wasn't attacking Peacock since he's already dead, for sure this time. As they argue about who killed him, their loud voices causes a candlestick to fall on Wadsworth from the doorframe. They return to the study and place both bodies on the sofa. Scarlet takes ownership of the candlestick but claims she left it in the study. To prevent further murders, they lock the remaining weapons in the cupboard and plot to throw the key out. Upon opening the front door to toss the key, they're surprised to see a man outside. He requests to use their phone because his car broke, so Wadsworth allows him to use the lounge phone but locks him inside. After Wadsworth tosses the key, they move to the library, where Mustard proposes pairing up and searching the house for intruders. Plum thinks if there's no intruder, the person paired with the killer might die. However, Mustard argues that this would identify the killer. Eventually, everyone agrees to search in pairs, though no one finds anything suspicious. Meanwhile, in the study, a gloved hand collects the evidence, burns them, then unlocks the cupboard to access the weapons. At the lounge, the motorist is unaware of the fireplace opening to a secret passage. Before he can finish talking about recognizing one of the guests, a wrench meets the back of his head. Outside, a cop is investigating the motorist's abandoned car. In the conservatory, Mustard and Scarlet discover a secret passage to the lounge. Scarlet spots the dead motorist and screams, causing everyone to run to their location. However, the door is locked and Wadsworth can't find the key. Thinking quickly, Yvette goes to grab the gun from the cupboard but accidentally shoots the chandelier on her way out. She shoots the locked door, thus opening it. As Mustard scolds Yvette for her recklessness, the chandelier falls, narrowly missing him. Scarlet points to the dead motorist, saying they found him after using a secret passage in the conservatory. Plum questions how Yvette got the gun from the cupboard, and she says she planned to break it open, but it was already unlocked. Yvette discards the gun amid the debris as the party piles into the study to check the cupboard. The doorbell rings and they find a cop outside, reporting an abandoned car nearby, so he wonders if someone asked for help. The group's answers are inconsistent, which prompts him to borrow their phone, so Wadsworth invites him to the library. The cop enters the mansion and vaguely recognizes Yvette before Wadsworth escorts him to the library and locks him inside. The phone rings, and he answers it calmly. Afterward, he demands to be let out, threatening to arrest him for murder. Wadsworth opens the door, concerned by the threats, but the cop says it was only to get them to open the door. He questions why they locked him in and why the head of the FBI is calling them. They're surprised to hear this, but Wadsworth takes the call anyway. Suspicious, the cop requests to look around, so Scarlet volunteers Green to accompany them. Green does his best to be a distraction. However, the cop insists on seeing the study and lounge, eventually forcing his way there. In the study, White, Mustard, and Peacock manipulate the bodies to make it appear that everyone is busy with their lovers. In the lounge, Scarlet pours alcohol on the motorist to make him look drunk, and Plum attempts to get it on with her. This convinces the cop that nothing wrong is happening, so he asks to continue his call. With that, Wadsworth locks him inside the library again, then urges everyone to resume searching. Mustard and Scarlet head for the kitchen, where she discovers another secret passage leading to the study. Given what they found earlier, they dismiss this and head for the ballroom. A gloved hand shuts off the power, which is Yvette's signal for a clandestine meeting. As she approaches the other person, a noose lands around her neck. Next, someone raises the metal pipe over the cop's head. Soon after, the bell rings and the door opens for a messenger. However, she is shot and the door slams shut. After several mishaps, Wadsworth eventually restores power to Hill House and everyone gathers in the hall. After discovering that Yvette and the cop are dead, Plum observes that no one was shot. Scarlett recalls hearing the front door slam and they investigate, finding the dead messenger. Despite the sudden addition of 3 bodies, everyone is unfazed, having grown accustomed to the violence. Wadsworth then notices the missing gun, which gives him the final piece of the puzzle. He invites them to the library, where he reveals that Bondi faked his death for a later escape after realizing someone wanted him dead after nearly getting shot, proven by the graze on his ear. Then, while they were in the billiard room with Yvette, someone stayed behind, took Peacock's discarded dagger to kill Ho, then returned using the kitchen's secret passage. When Peacock wonders why Ho was killed, Wadsworth reveals that she and Yvette were Bondi's accomplices in blackmailing them. Yvette had an affair with White's husband, then was employed by Scarlett, and Mustard was one of her clients. Moving on, while they were in the kitchen, the killer slipped into the freezer's secret passage, attacked Bondi with a candlestick, then stashed him in the washroom before re-entering the kitchen. Wadsworth confesses that he didn't really throw the key away, but the killer stole it. He adds that the motorist was also an informant he invited to testify against Bondi. The motorist used to be Mustard's driver, who knew he sold radio parts during the war. Scarlett then admits that the cop from earlier was on her payroll to keep her entertainment business running. Plum also confesses that his affair with the messenger got his license revoked. Wadsworth announces the killer wanted Bondi and this accomplice is dead. During their search, the killer managed to slip away, saw the evidence identifying Bondi's informants, and burned them. They then unlocked the cupboard and took a weapon, which is why Yvette found the cupboard already open. During the tense narration, the bell rings, and Peacock opens the door to a missionary offering salvation. Uninterested, Peacock slams the door, and Wadsworth continues his theories on what happened. He declares that Yvette killed Bondi and Ho. She assumed that Bondi died from the gunshot, so she took Peacock's dagger during the confusion and stabbed the cook. Yvette then screamed after returning to the billiard room to make it seem like she's been there the entire time. When everyone ran to the kitchen, she stayed behind to whack Bondi with a candlestick, then stashed Bondi in the washroom to confuse everyone. Wadsworth clarifies that Yvette acted under the orders of her employer and future killer, Scarlett. He claims that Scarlett also killed the motorist using the passages that Yvette told her. Turning off the electricity and dispatching the other informants were also easy, because she was searching on the ground floor near the weapons and victims. To prove this, Wadsworth prompted everyone to empty their pockets and purses. Scarlett knows she's caught, so she brandishes the gun, revealing that her real business was extracting secrets during pillow talk and selling them. The guest's connection to the government make them valuable sources of information, but Wadsworth and the accomplices were loose ends that she needed to dispatch. As she's about to shoot the butler, the doorbell distracts her, and he takes the opportunity to subdue Scarlett. Green runs to open the door, and authorities pour in, followed shortly by the missionary, who turns out to be the FBI chief. Ever the femme fatale, Scarlett charms Wadsworth one last time before being taken away. However, this is only one possibility. Another is that after the messenger was recognized and shot, the killer hurried back to the cellar, implying it was either Peacock or Plum. Wadsworth then pins the murders on Peacock, saying she was missing when Ho and Bondi were killed. Wadsworth recalls that Peacock carelessly mentioned that the dish Ho cooked was her favorite, even though it was an exotic delicacy few cooks could make. When Wadsworth prompts everyone to empty their pockets and purses, Peacock pulls out the gun and points it at him. Peacock thinks she's backed into a corner, but when Wadsworth thanks her for cleaning up a blackmailer and his informants, she's speechless. He reassures her that he'd never call the police, so she's free to go. Peacock slowly retreats out the door, and when she's gone, Wadsworth reveals to the others that he's an FBI agent and that she won't get far. He explains that Peacock's husband has influence over defense contracts, and accepting bribes from foreign powers is treason, something she doesn't want exposed. Therefore, the others' secrets will be safe. Outside, Peacock is getting into her car when the authorities arrest her. Again, this is only a possibility. What really happened is that Plum intended to shoot Bondi but missed, so he finished him off when everyone ran to the kitchen. Peacock then killed Ho, who used to be her cook, and informed Bondi of their corruption. While the motorist was asking for help, Mustard pickpocketed the cupboard key from Wadsworth, and his insistence on going in pairs was for a chance to slip away from his partner and kill his former driver. Wadsworth then narrates that White's jealousy caused her to hurry down the stairs, turn off the electricity, and strangle Yvette. Meanwhile, Scarlett used the darkness to enter the library and get rid of the cop she was bribing. Scarlett cheerfully confirms this, amazed at his deductions. With no one else to blame, Plum accuses Green of shooting the messenger. Green shouts that he didn't, pointing out that whoever has the gun is the culprit. Without hesitation, Wadsworth takes out the gun to reveal that he's the real blackmailer all along. This whole night was merely cleaning up any incriminating evidence, and the guests ended up helping him with it. He backpedals to the front door, keeping the gun pointed at the group. Green shouts that the police are coming, but Wadsworth says he never called them. Green then motions to pocket his glasses, but suddenly pulls out a pistol and shoots. This was so unexpected that Wadsworth couldn't help but be impressed by the nervous Mr. Green before dying. Green's demeanor changes when he shows them his FBI badge, revealing that the FBI call was meant for him. As he opens the door, agents pour in and surround the guests, who begin blaming each other. When the FBI chief asks who done it, Green shouts that everyone did it, even him, who took down the real Mr. Body. With that, he plans to go home to his wife and do her too, as his ruse about his preference was a lie to lure the blackmailer.
Subscribe to watch more videos like this, turn on notifications and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.